Let's do it. All right, welcome in everybody. Welcome to the Women's Wellness Network and welcome to our guest today, Ashleigh. Hello, Ashleigh. How are you doing?
I am well, thank you.
Oh, wonderful. It's so nice to meet you and finally get to have a conversation. I had some crazy weather dealings going on, which made me have to cancel a whole bunch of things. But, now life is back kind of on track. And I think the universe gives us breaks when we need them. So I think that is, one of those things you just accept and allow and be happy when it happens. So thank you for being patient. Thank you for rescheduling and showing up today.
Absolutely.
I'm so excited to find out a little bit more about what the heck you are doing, Ashleigh. But first of all, you must tell us where in the world you are.
Oh, I'm in Boulder, Colorado,
Oh,
Rocky
goodness,
Mountains.
beautiful. Oh, my word. Is this scenery behind you your own picture?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite spots. I
Very
used to,
nice.
I used to go to that, sit literally right there and look out at a time, very high stress moment in my life. And literally all I had to do was sit on the land and the stress would just float off of me.
Right.
It
I get
was
that.
incredible.
I get that. Oh my goodness. And something about the mountains. My place was Whistler, British Columbia. When I was going through, the deep, dark times in my journey, I would
Yeah.
go there and there's this place that I would, you have to hike there and you have to, do some walking. You got to take the gondola and you got to do all these things to get there. But when I got there, it was that, just that release of all that stuff. And Mother Earth just took it back.
Oh.
And when I got up to go, I was so free. It was so good. It
Hmm.
was so good. I miss
Yeah.
it. I need to get back. So,
Yeah.
do you get to go to this spot still? Is this like right around your corner?
Yes, this is very close to where I live. And then another spot I go to is at the river where and it's right up against the foothills. And in the summertime, which we're coming on to, so I'm really excited, I'll go there with my lawn chair, food, water, a journal, and literally sometimes sit there for 6 hours and just again, just entrain with nature because nature is so pure. It was actually one of my earliest teachers. I would just sit in nature and just watch what was occurring. And it taught me.
Right.
It
Right.
taught me how to be because I was a city girl and
Ah,
sitting in nature was on the one hand kind of very different. I don't know what made me
yeah.
do it the first time, but I
Because
did.
it
And
felt good. It felt
yeah,
good, right? It felt good.
exactly. I think
Yeah.
that's what it was. It just like, and then I felt more like me,
Mm,
right? Because, when you entrain with nature, which just naturally happens, nature is just nature. A tree is not trying to be a bird,
right.
right? And so I was led to my nature. And I didn't even know what was happening back then. We're talking 30 years ago, but that is what was happening and still happens.
And it's
It's,
such a saving grace, don't you think?
yeah.
For me, I know like getting out there anytime that I can, like I was just mentioning, I sit in front of this picture window and if I feel like I'm part of it. I don't have
Yes.
to, of course I would like to go outdoors, but I'm in Ontario and it's still it's still
Oh,
winter here. So it's
yeah.
it's just that thing, right? It's nice to feel connected, to feel even looking at a picture, I look at that picture behind you and I can feel what it feels like to be there. Like it
Yeah.
feels amazing. And
Yeah. Good.
right, like it does. Nature is
Yeah.
amazing. It's such
I
a
mean,
huge healer, such a
yeah.
huge healer.
And the reason I love this picture, which I also actually have blown up in my living room, is because it has all the elements. It's got the earth, the water, the air, which is the wind, and the sun, which is the fire. So it's like you're just, again, in all the elements, and you don't have to be doing anything at
Right.
all, right?
Right.
It's,
Oh
yeah,
my
it's the
goodness.
greatest healer.
It is. It really is. Okay, I'm going to share one little secret that has nothing to do with anything that we're talking about. with
Cool.
you. It has to do with me
Yeah.
and what I'm doing. But I've just created a like an oracle deck sort of kind of
Mm,
idea. And it's all about that. It's about the land. It's about the animals. It's about nature. It's about being there. And
mm,
you look at those pictures, and it feels like that. You get
yeah.
that feeling. You understand what it feels like to be there, even if you haven't been there before. It just
Right.
has that thing, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I love
Yeah.
that you have that picture behind you. I think it is absolutely beautiful. And I don't think I've ever, talked for 5 minutes about the person's background at the beginning of an interview. So,
It's always a
yes,
first.
right. It totally is. And I guess because I was just working on that before we got on here, it's like so
Mm,
in my mind, and it's, it has that feeling, and I was drawn to that picture. And
yeah.
anyways, I want to know more about you, Ashleigh. I want to know more about what you do in the world. I want to know about the mother monologues. That is really an amazing title, heading, whatever that is. We need to talk about that. So let's first start. You told us where you are on the planet, which is
Yeah.
amazing. Colorado is beautiful. But besides that, where you are, who are you? What are your labels? What do you do in the world? Not your job so much, but you're a mom, you're a teacher. What are you? What do you do in the world?
Uh-huh. Uh, First and foremost, I'm a transformational storyteller. And, I'm not going to be humble about it. Like when you hear a story from me, it could be over tea, we could be taking a walk, I could be talking about my cat, and something happens. And I didn't know I had that like gift until I was in my 50s.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. And never studied theater or drama or anything like that. But I just noticed that, like every time I told a story, people were laughing, crying, reflecting, like breathing deeply. That's always a good sign. And everyone's always thanking me for sharing the story. I'm like, yeah, sure. It's so anyway. So first and foremost, transformational storyteller. I would describe myself as an irreverent provocateur.
oh,
My
oh.
Yeah, my clients and my friends, when they see that title, they're like, yeah. And what I mean by that is lovingly, I just say what I see, just lovingly, directly, compassionately. And I call it oftentimes like strong medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like just speaking to people's hearts and souls, which really the end goal for that, the whole reason for that is for our liberation. Like everything I do is for me to liberate myself. But then if I could be a guide for others to liberate, and liberate from what? From our stories, actually, even though I'm a storyteller. But
Right.
it's an important step to tell your story, right? Digest it first and then tell your story. And we can circle back to that, what I mean by that. But digest it, tell it, and then let it go. And usually, when you fully digested it, it lets go of you,
Right.
right? But
Yeah.
it's to liberate us from our stories, from our emotions, from our thoughts, from our identities of like all these important things that we think we are, to just be in like ultimate humility, ultimate equanimity,
Mm.
ultimate peace, and pure love. Like that's the game. That's my
Right.
game.
Yeah,
That's
that's the goal. It's got to be the goal. It feels good to be in that. So why wouldn't we want to have more of that? Like, let's figure out how to have more. Because
yeah.
well, we know we can feel it. We know we deserve it. Well, not always we know that we deserve it, but generally, inside of us, we do know that we do deserve it, that we're worthy, we're valuable,
That
and
it is
those
ours.
it
It
is,
is ours.
yeah,
It's in there already.
right.
It's in there already. And it's just layers and layers and layers of dramas and traumas that haven't been digested, that haven't been acknowledged, that haven't been like taken responsibility for. And those are big things. And though it leads to liberation.
Mm. Let's go there, Ashleigh. That's what I need to happen. We need to have that in our lives. So, okay, first of all, how did you get on this train? What was the thing that said, hey, Ashleigh, you should be doing this work? How did you like fall into
Whoa.
it?
Wow, that's a big question. Where to come at that? Um, I'll fast forward. So I've been on my personal journey of healing and transformation and spirituality for 30 years. And the biggest thing that I learned, one was sitting in nature and learning from nature. But the other really, really big thing was understanding what my emotions were. Like understanding emotions, naming them, and then feeling them, which are actually worlds apart from each other. Because I didn't want to feel them initially. I was like, no, 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 no. I just want to play, feel good, have fun. But I had a very tenacious somatic therapist. And she just stayed on me and trained me how to stay with my emotions to the point where then I could do it on my own. And what I learned time and time again is every time I stayed with an emotion, even though it sucked while I was in it, it this is not fun. However, when I stayed with it and then it would release, I had a jewel at the end of that, which was more love, more joy, freer to be me, more inner freedom. And I am all about the freedom. And so I did that for decades. And then some big traumas happened in my family life, which led my mother to live with me. And I thought she'd live a year. She lived 4 because she got healthier, happier, more stable living with me. And it was, I call that time excruciating to extraordinary. Because by the time when she moved in with me, I had been on my journey about 25 years and thought I'd done a lot of work.
Until you have to live with your mother.
Until she moved in.
Yeah, I get that.
And oh my goodness, the stuff that rose that I was clueless to. And, you know, I stayed on it because, yep, this is my path, right? Healing. And I did, I stayed on it. And it went to extraordinary of what happened between us. And I wasn't working things out with her. I was just doing me. She was doing her. I was having amazing deep healing. She was getting healthier, happier, more stable than she had been in decades. What I witnessed happen for her, never could have imagined. And when I was coming out of that after she passed, and I was recovering and I started feeling creative. And I had I had done a one-woman show years prior. And they were my stories of healing and transformation that I've been sharing with friends for decades. And then one day I got this like huge download of like, take my stories, go bigger. So I did. And I did this show for 25 friends. And 10 of them said to me, that was amazing. And I was like, oh, okay. So I just kept doing it. But then this big, lot of trauma happened in the family. So the show was put on pause. So now I'm grieving, recovering, feeling creative again, and think, okay, it's time for another show. Let's do another show. Long story short, I wrote, or the mother monologues got written through me. And so it is the journey of my mother and I, yes, personal, yes, and universal, because we all have moms.
Of course.
And when I do the live shows, I can see with the nods and the smiles and the tears, you know, people seeing themselves in different moments within it. And I feel like because of everything my mom and I went through, and this was literally one of my thoughts when I was sitting in my living room and starting to feel creative, where it was like, I don't think I went through all of that just for my personal growth. And so I started in my living room inviting friends, 6 women at a time, doing this show, and then, asking for feedback. And we'd have what's called talk back, like what's most impactful, what's most alive for you, do you have a question for me? And those conversations were just as rich as the show. And I just witnessed time and time again how healing, how inspired people were, the gratitude they'd share as they hugged me for me naming some things that I just name, right? Taking things out of like closets where, one of the things is we all think like, oh, we have to have this great relationship with our moms. Well, most of us don't have great relationships with our moms. Yeah, there's good things, there's challenging things. She doesn't see me, she doesn't acknowledge me, like all the things. And I just I just bring it out to say, hey, let's have conversations about this. Let's get real. Because what I experienced for myself going through it was like it affected everything about me on a cellular level. It was so deep, Tammy. It was so deep. And I was asking, like, why? I've done a lot of work.
What is
Why,
happening?
why is this so impactful? And what occurred was because she's our first human relationship.
Right.
We're literally created in her womb. We come through her. She's our first modeling of what it means to be a woman.
Right.
Like, there's so many things. And she's got fear for us.
Right.
She knows what it was like for her journey in this culture. Hopefully, that's changing for the younger girls. I mean, I know it is. But she's got fear for us. And they, those the older generations, they didn't have our vocabulary to have the conversations. They weren't even allowed. They were just, if we were told to be quiet, they were
Right.
told to shut up.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So they didn't have permission. They didn't have the tools. They didn't have the resources to share with us their fear. So it came out sideways. Right. So
Mm.
it's like if we can honestly take responsibility and grow up and say, hey, I can be in charge of my healing with this, with my relationship within myself, that will transform the relationship with your mother. I'm living proof. My clients are living proof.
Oh,
Like, let's
oh, it's
let's
giving me
do
seriously.
this.
It gives me those shivers. Like it gives me that thing. It really does because I have that, right? I have, you know, that relationship with my own mother, with my own daughter, trying to change it and trying to make it something else
Mm,
and trying to, do better in the next generation and that kind of thing. And a
mm,
lot of women just don't even know that they have those mother wounds. They don't know that they have those relationship challenges that affect them still today. And
yep.
I think, like your monologues, are you still doing them? Are you still doing your shows?
Yeah. So I've been doing it live for 2.5 years. And I recently posted the whole show on YouTube.
Oh, oh, look at you go.
So, and the reason for that is I want it out to inspire more hearts quicker and faster than I can get out and produce them.
Yes. Yes.
Because
Yes.
it's for everyone else's hearts. Because like coming back to the digesting the story, over the summer, I felt like, this show, this story, like it doesn't have any more creative juice for me, that creative juju, because I've worked it, right? Yet I still felt like not enough hearts have experienced the show for them, for their relationships with their mothers, with any relationship, with their sons, with their husbands, right? Because you talked about I call it invisible stress. If you haven't looked at your healing and your relationship with your mother, using that lens, it's invisible stress affecting every relationship, period, right? So why not? Because so many things get resolved like this when you heal
Right.
that relationship, your relationship in here with yourself. And so, um, yeah, I posted it on YouTube. So you can just Google The Mother Monologues, a Love Story.
No, we're going to put it in the comments. We're going
There
to
we
put it
go.
in the comments so people
Yes,
can just click on that thing and
yes, yes.
see it. Yeah,
Yeah,
let's do that. I
yeah,
think it's very important. Healing mother wounds is probably one of the number one things on my heart.
yeah.
Just because of my own, my own generational stuff and how
Yes,
to move past that and make it, comfortable for everybody who's in it.
yeah,
And I know that thing when you heal that little piece of yourself, it also heals the mom, it also heals the daughter.
yeah.
So that,
Yes,
super important, right?
yes. I literally witnessed this in our home. I'm doing my stuff. She's doing her. She shut her TV off that had been on 24/7 for decades. She started listening to classical music again, reading books. Like she was finding herself again. I'm not sharing with her my inner work for various reasons, which I won't go into, but it's in the show. However, she was witnessing me. She was experiencing me. She was feeling me. I was different. And then I would watch her shift. And and it was miraculous. It really was miraculous.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Oh my goodness. Okay, so you work with women. Do you
Yes.
work with both men and women or do just women?
Primarily women, but I
Okay,
definitely work with men.
both. Okay. Okay, that's
Yeah,
good. No, it's good to know because
yeah,
many women on the Women's Wellness Network have, they have spouses, they have dads, they have fathers or dads and
yeah,
fathers. Well, those could be two different things. They have, they have men in their lives. And
yeah.
to be able to, especially if you can work together, as a couple
Mhm.
or not as a couple, but on the same project,
Yeah,
I think it's very beneficial. And
yeah,
yeah, especially both men and women have mother wounds, of course, because we
yeah,
all have mothers. And I've just been, I've been talking about this recently. Of course, your title reminds me of the vagina monologues. Of
yes.
course, that
I was
like
in
comes to
that
my
too.
mind, right?
Yeah,
That's amazing. So it just is one of those things, right? We all came through that passage. We all,
yes,
came to this world through that way.
yeah,
And to even just get our heads around that, I
yeah,
think is a huge win. And a lot of people even just feel their own birth is um, it's subject to scrutiny, it's subject to shame, it's subject to guilt or whatever it is. So
yeah,
being able to get in that relationship with your own mom and feel those things and heal those things before somebody has to leave this plane
hmm,
um, is so there's so much growth there. And like
yeah.
we said, it's backwards and forwards. It's not just us who get to heal. It's our
Right.
children and even the grandparents that they have to still be alive. So
Yep.
I think that's just, it's beautiful. So when you work with people, if somebody came to you today and they said, Ashleigh, can you help me? What would you do? What would be like the first thing that you would direct them to or suggest for them? What kind of things would you
Mm. Um, I was just talking about this earlier today, and this is one practice, excuse me, that I have everybody do. And I would ask them, do you know who your mom is?
That's a
And usually
very
they go,
strong question.
yeah, they go, oh. And I can see it's for the first time in their life, the question has flipped their awareness to, oh, she's somebody other than my mom.
Right.
Like, yeah, she's her own person. And so, what I guide people to do is find out who she was. Who was she as a little girl? Find pictures of her, if you can, hopefully, when she was a little girl, and look at her and see the essence of who she is. Find out who she was as a young woman. What were her aspirations? Ask relatives if they're alive. What was she like? How do you remember my mom? So you can see her through other people's eyes. Because you never will know who that woman is. You've never seen that woman. You've not known that woman. Because that woman also is buried somewhere in her, for the most part, right? Who was she before she married your dad?
Right.
And have a picture of that, an essence of who she is, and then see if your mom's alive, see her with that lens. Basic
That's
step.
beautiful. That is a
Yeah.
what an amazing place to start. That's very powerful. And as you're talking, of course, I'm putting myself into that position. I'm thinking about my own
Yeah.
mother. I'm thinking
Yeah.
about,
Yeah.
okay, who is she? And all the things, I've done some work around that situation, but still the
Mm-hmm.
question, it still brings up something in me. It still makes me think of different scenarios. It makes me think of you know, different masks that she wore as still maybe even still wears as a
Oh yeah.
human being, right? It's not
Oh yeah.
just being my mom, as you said. She has her own life. She's her own person. She's gone through her own shit. And
Yeah.
sorry, my French, but
And
right,
then
we all
and then
do.
also, yeah, and then also learn if you can, like, what did she go through? What was her journey?
Right, right.
I literally was having this conversation because I'm going to be presenting to a group, this another woman's group, and we were talking about this, and she had that experience with her mom, and I said, "Oh, so it sounds like compassion has opened up for your mother." Because we walk around, for the most part, looking at her, what you didn't do for me, what you did to me that harmed me, like that, just all of this. It's just one way, right? And not considering what was her path and her journey, because she had one before you were around.
Right,
She's a
right.
human. She's a woman.
Yep. Dreams, aspirations, hopes, plans, ideas,
Yeah,
things that might have come across her path. But at the
yeah,
same time, life happens and it
yeah.
does change people, and dreams die and things get buried. And uh, always, mom is always doing the best that they can. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter, even if it's the worst
Mm-hmm.
mother,
Mm-hmm.
she still is doing the best that she can, and
Mm-hmm.
definitely trying to figure out that stuff for yourself to navigate that path so that you don't have to carry her stuff, right? She
No,
was doing her thing. You get to do your own thing, and what we take forward is what we get to. We have that choice. We get to
yeah.
decide what part we want to keep and what part we don't want to. So
Mm-hmm.
if our women would like to find out more about you, connect with you, ask questions, any of that kind of stuff, how can they contact you?
Yeah. They can go to themothermonologues.com. That's my website. We'll put that also in the notes below, and they can book a discovery call with me
Okay.
where we'll chat, get to know each other a little bit, see if it's an appropriate fit. Um, Usually, my clients are women that have been on their healing spiritual journey, so they know what a little bit of what that road looks like. Um, because we go deep, and but it's good because it's efficient, and I really understand now what I've heard of, like from coaches, for the decades of, oh, it's good to work with a coach that's someone who's done what you want to do, because they'll quicken the time it'll take you because they've already done it. So they know like the obstacles and the pitfalls, and they'll just get you there that much faster. And I'm like, yeah, 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 you just want money. And now I'm like, oh, now I really get it.
It's so true. It is so true because once you figure it out, right, you want to share it and you want to be able
Exactly.
to, right? Yeah, you've spent some time, you've had some, you've
Oh,
had to do your own healing, your own learning, your own all of the things.
yeah. And
So,
usually, you try a lot of things and it's like, nope, this, and this are really good.
right?
That got me further faster than anything else. So yeah, so it's, and I just like efficiency. I just like efficiency, to
Right.
help women. Again, really, it's all about that liberation and being aligned and clear and coherent in your being so that you can be a loving, guiding force for others,
Force. Yeah, I like that word.
right?
Force. Yeah.
Because we just want to be that for each other. Right? And so that's why I like going deep, deep, quickly. And I call it strong medicine. And I say irreverent provocateur because it's a ride. And but it's well worth it. Oh my God, the freedom and the clarity and the joy. Uh,
I can just imagine. Seriously,
um,
I from you talking about it, hearing it in your voice, all the things from my own
mhm,
understanding of what I know from my own relationship with my own mom, from what I've, gotten from you in this conversation. Yeah,
mm,
yeah,
yeah.
it is. It's a great way to go. I think if women out there in the Women's Wellness Network, we are going to put all of Ashleigh's information into the comment section so that you can reach out to her. You can find out more about what she's doing. You can maybe even pass her information on to somebody else if you know somebody who is having that challenge
Mm,
or trying to navigate that relationship.
yeah.
Because we all have a mother, but there's no question about that. We all
Yeah.
have that, whether she's here, whether she's passed away,
Yeah.
whether whatever, our relationship is still inside of
Yeah.
us and we need to heal it, and it can be healed. And that's what Ashleigh is here to do.
Yeah.
So,
You
Ashleigh, is
know,
there anything else you would like to
Yeah,
tell us?
because you know why? It's because for the spaciousness that you get inside from healing this, because it's just material that's in the way until it's healed. And you know what I just thought of the first man that ever saw the show during the talk back, he said, because I was really curious. I was just inviting women to it, and someone said, well, how do men feel about it? And I'm like, I don't know. So I invited this gentleman, and he said, I have a really good relationship with my mother, but this has me thinking about my dad.
Mm.
And it's leading me to like have to make a decision that I've been avoiding. And then the next time I did my show, he came to that show also. And in the talk back, he said, you were really inspiring to me. And what I've done since I saw you was I invited my father to spend the summer with me.
Wow. Right. That
That
is what it's about.
that is what it's about. It is
Mm.
sacred work to do this work. It's sacred work if you have the opportunity to take care of your parent at the end of their life. It's sacred work to heal both the mother and the father within.
Right.
Ah, it's just,
Yeah. Yes, 100%. Regardless of what that looks like on the outside, what it feels like on the inside is the thing. So,
exactly.
yeah, oh my goodness, Ashleigh, so thank you so much for coming today. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Thank you for telling us about your mother monologues and your own journey, how you got here, because it's, like I said, we all have mothers, and I'm sure that in some way we can all relate to this.
Oh, yeah.
Not every relationship is you know set out to look pretty, smell nice, and be
Mm-hmm.
delicious. Sometimes it's ugly and it's, malformed, and it's
Yeah.
but it is what it is, and it's ours, and it's up to us to, do with it what we are able to do.
Yeah. And they all have gifts. There's always a gift in any dynamic, in any relationship. And is can we be patient enough and diligent enough and responsible enough to receive the gift of it?
Right. Right. Oh my goodness. All right. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you. And make sure that you connect with Ashleigh in the comment section. This has been a wonderful interview. Thank you so much, Ashleigh. And of course, everybody, be well.